The moon phase might not be the most useful complication, but it's definitely one of the most popular. And in the seemingly endless abundance of watches with moon phases, can a brand really differentiate itself? Well, Arnold and Son managed to do so with their incredibly unique and really cool Luna Magna red gold meteorite. Let's take a look at why I like it so much. Hi, I'm Craig from Wrist Enthusiast. Recently I had the chance to get my hands on the new Arnold and Son Luna Magna red gold meteorite. And being a watch lover who appreciates innovative watches, I just find it incredibly cool. And I'll tell you why. But first, I just wanted to remind you that if you've been enjoying my reviews and videos and want to make sure you don't miss any, don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for supporting me. Now let's get started. When you think of moon phase watches, or at least when I think of moon phase watches, the first brand that comes to my mind is Arnold and Son. But beyond the brand's wide selection of moon phases in their current collection, Arnold and Son actually has a lot of history. The brand's founder, John Arnold, along with Abraham Louis Breguet, are long thought of as the two inventors of the modern mechanical wristwatch. The story goes that in the early days of mechanical watchmaking, Arnold actually met with and became good friends with Breguet. This friendship went so far that Breguet allowed Arnold's son to intern for him. In exchange, Arnold let Breguet use some of his innovations in Breguet's watches. Relationship with Breguet aside, Arnold and his eponymous brand, Arnold and Son, has plenty of its own history to write about. Founded in 1787 by Arnold, and you guessed it, his son John Roger Arnold, yes, this is the same son who interned for Breguet, the brand has been making luxury watches ever since. In its more recent history, I would argue that Arnold and Son has become almost synonymous with a single complication, the moon phase. Yes, the time pyramid is a well-known timepiece, and I really love it. And they do produce a tourbillon, but it's the moon phase where Arnold and Son really makes its mark in terms of the breadth of the collection and innovation. And probably my favorite of Arnold and Son's moon phases is one of their more recent releases, the Luna Magna. Unlike most other moon phases produced by all the big luxury brands from Patek Philippe to Breguet itself, the Luna Magna is just different. It's a spherical moon phase that to me is just much more visually interesting than anything else there is out on the market. And because let's face it, who actually needs a moon phase complication? The original Luna Magna was released just about 2 years ago in January 2022, but I went hands-on with a newer Luna Magna red gold meteorite released just a few months ago in September. Before we get further into details of the Luna Magna red gold meteorite, let me just get this out of the way. This is my favorite moon phase watch I've seen in the metal. When you first hold the Luna Magna, you'll notice that it's a large watch. Not only is the watch 44 millimeters in diameter, but it is thick. Luckily, the crown is rather flat and close to the case, and the lugs are small and curved, so it does wear a little bit smaller than that typical 44 millimeter watch. Including the domed crystal and the boxed crystal display caseback, the Luna Magna is 15.9 millimeters thick. Normally, I would just say that that's too thick, but there is a legitimate reason for it here. The spherical moon is a whopping 12 millimeters in diameter. In order for the case and watch to accommodate such a large object, the crystal had to be domed. If you look at a side view of the watch, you will see the 3D moon peeking above the case. Speaking of the moon, as I've said, it's three-dimensional and really the first of its kind. The moon side of the moon phase is made of opal, while the other half is a blue PVD-treated meteorite, matching the dial. More on that later. The moon phase is coated in lume, and when lumed, it reveals the terrain of the moon. The moon is also visible through the display caseback, and there's also a moon phase indicator on the caseback allowing for easy setting of the correct phase of the moon. The moon phase has an incredible accuracy, only requiring a single day correction every 122 years, and the moon phase indicator really aids this. Setting the moon phase without an indicator would only allow you to get an approximation of the actual phase of the moon, so having it allows for a more exact setting. And while you may need to correct the moon phase once every 122 years, I don't think any of us will live to actually see that day. But it's good to know that we can pass it down to our children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren without having to worry about the moon phase being incorrect. Well, that's only if you keep the hand-wound movement going. The time-only subdial is relatively classic with Roman numeral indices and blue skeletonized hands. The hands and indexes aren't loomed, but instead the whole subdial is loomed, and it's the same color as the 3D moon. This actually makes time-telling very legible even in the dark. I also found the lume to be extremely long-lasting, which can be a problem with some other lume dial watches. Besides the spherical moon, the other main attraction of the Luna Magna is the meteorite dial. Besides the time subdial on half of the moon, the entire dial is Meteorite. The Meteorite dial has a typical crisscross pattern, but it's unique because the dial has been treated with a blue PVD technique. In darker rooms or shadowy areas, this can make the meteorite harder to see, but when in proper light, the dial really shines. It pairs well with the red gold or rose gold case and the blue alligator leather strap. The leather strap is on a partially gold and partially steel deployant buckle, though for the price point, I would have expected the entire buckle to be gold. The watch runs on the in-house La Joux manufactured ANS 1021 caliber manual line movement, which beats at 21,600 VPH and 3 Hz. It has a very respectable 90-hour power reserve. The watch does feature some decoration, though not a lot. It has Geneva stripes and a radiating pattern from the center. I think that with the moonphase and moonphase indicator visible through the case back, there really is just enough visual interest there. And yes, the finishing is excellent. Yes, Arnold and Son has employed some watchmaking tricks that I described earlier to make it a more manageable wear on the wrist. I don't have a particularly large wrist at 6.75 inches, but I didn't feel like the Luna Magna was too large for me. One thing I will note is that stylistically at least, the Luna Magna is a dress watch. As such, due to its thickness, it's not really going to slip under your cuff. I personally don't adhere to the dress watch versus sports watch distinction very much in my daily decision on what watch to wear, so I'm not really bothered by this, personally. But it is a consideration. However, I'm not sure I can recommend the Luna Magna to be your black tie tuxedo watch. All this aside, I really love the watch, and if you're a fan of moonphase complications, I would say this is the watch to own. The Arnold and Son Luna Magna Red Meteorite is a limited edition of just 38 pieces, and it's fairly expensive. It retails for $61,100. Well, I hope you liked my review of the Arnold and Son Luna Magna Red Meteorite. If you did, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment below. And head over to wristenthusiast.com to check out any of our written reviews, watch news, and watch buying guides. I'm Craig Karger, and thanks for watching.